Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is the first installment of the creative development courses, and my name's Christian, and today we're talking about Wigglegrams. You may have seen Wigglegrams from social media, and they're kind of like these dynamic 3D images that are created by basically taking multiple pictures in succession or all at the same time. They're started back in 70s and 80s when they were producing these stereoscopic cameras, which were basically cameras that had multiple lenses that would take and capture 4 images or 3 images, depending on the make and model of your camera, all at the same time. And when put in succession, image after image, it would look and give it a very 3D kind of video effect, because it would have the same focal point in all the photos. In this photo specifically, it's this gentleman right here, and it would have a dynamic movement look to it. You can tell that here by the greenery that's moving, and it's kind of blurred out a little bit. But so yeah, there's a lot of people doing them out there. Obviously, you could type in hashtag Wigglegram on Instagram like I did and find just a plethora of different people trying them out and using different methods. But today we're going to talk about how to do it in After Effects and with a DSLR camera or even just a cell phone camera, and how to take your shots and then how to put it all together to create an Instagram story. So Whitley was kind enough to put together a shoot with Max and to take all these pictures, and she provided us with 29 pictures. We're only going to use about 4 of them today, but I've kind of pre-selected pictures 10 through 13 here, and we're going to line these up and put them together. And you can see here that when she was shooting Max, she was very specific about keeping that focal point on the volunteer card, on the volunteer name tag there. And that's really important because you want to keep that consistent focal point and let the movement of the photographer. Right now she's walking in an arc around Max, but let the movement be portrayed with his movement in the background. She's moving to take the pictures, but keeping the focal point the same so that it'll look like Max is moving in the background. And it's going to give that cool rotation look, but still keep our subject, which is the volunteer card, at the center. So right here, I've kind of pre-done the work, but we're gonna do it all together because I think that's really important to learning how to do it. So let's delete all these folders and let's go out and grab those images. So I think I'm actually gonna do Wiggle 1 here. So those are 10 through 13 we talked about, but let's do Wiggle 1, images 25 through 28. And I'm actually gonna include this file specifically, this Wigglegram instructional After Effects file, in a link below and a Dropbox link or something like that. So you guys have the information. You can pick apart the file, look at the images, things like that, and see kind of the different methods. So let's create a new composition. I've already got a preset here for Instagram stories. I just label it IGS, but it's a width of 1080, height 1920, and 15 seconds long, which is the length of a typical Instagram story. So I'm gonna name this Wigglegram 1. And I'm going to drag our images into the timeline. I'm going to zoom in here because right now all the layers are 15 seconds in length, but we're going to create the time using each layer. So let's bring this back to 5 frames. So there's 5 frames of each layer. And I did that by pressing Alt-Option on Mac, holding that key down and pressing the right bracket. I think on Windows it's Shift in the same right bracket, so depending on what machine you're using, you can do that accordingly. So I'm going to stretch these layers out and be in succession every 5 frames. And what we're looking for here is, you see the 4 images, they're not lined up right now, but we're going to line them up by moving the position, the scaling, the rotation. So what you're going to want to identify is where your subject is most flat. So right now the volunteer card, the volunteer name tag is it's not rotated, it's flat, it's positioned towards the camera at its most flat space. So what we're going to do is we're going to click off here over in our timeline, and we're going to go up to our rectangle tool, or you can press Q on your keyboard. we're gonna zoom in, we're gonna make a rectangle the approximate size of this card. So I'm gonna take a guess and think it's about that because we're gonna rotate the picture later. But let's press T to get to our opacity and bring this down to 50. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna arrange all these layers to match our purple shape. But first let's take the key image, which is our image 27 and 29, and let's use our R key to rotate this into position. And we're gonna scale it as well to be the size of this purple box. And actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna align the top of the card to the top of the box. From there, let's go into our shape and just kind of adjust the size of the box. Might have to go to our picture again and adjust that, just so that we're getting it pretty close to exact. Yep, I think that's about right. So it's okay if there's a little bit of edging there that's not exactly. Obviously, we're going for excellence and for consistency, but and understand that these things can take as long as you want them to, and we don't want them to take too long. So we're gonna go to our next layer here in the timeline. We're gonna plane that up to the top, and we're also gonna check the sizing on these. So we want the bottom of the card to also reach to the bottom of the purple. And same with the sides. We just want it to fill more or less most of this space. And when you get into the angles of all of these, you can really get into the minutia of it. And you just want to be pretty close to reaching all those points. But you're gonna, obviously you'll see here, we're not gonna be able to hit every point of that. So we're gonna make our concessions where we can. And maybe what we'll do is we'll scale this down to be the size, and we'll match the top. And you can check it with the rotation from layer to layer as well. So we're almost there. We're at our last one, and then we're gonna be done. So I need to rotate this up really quick. And what I'm doing to access all these tools here at the bottom, if you don't know this from After Effects, you can press S for scale, will get you your scale parameter, R will get you your rotation, T will get you opacity, and P is position if you wanted to move your image in that way. I like to go press V, which is your selection tool, and just drag the image around up here. Just pretty similar to like Photoshop or something, another Adobe program like that. So right now I think we've got our layers. We got the rotation working. It looks beautiful. Right here you can see we've got a lot of bounding space, so we can actually scale our images down by using the parent pick whip tool. Just take that pick whip of one of those once all of the layers are selected, put it on our shape layer 1, and let's use our scale tool to actually scale it down. Now you'll need to go and check the layers just to make sure that none of the layers are leaving any black space or any like dead pixels down there with your scaling, because if I scale it too small, you'll see what happens. Even on the edging, like one image, if I scaled this right to the edge, one image might be good, but you can see down here on the next image, it's off. So make sure you do that appropriately. Now what we're gonna do is we need to create the boomerang effect. We can turn off our shape layer right now. So we're gonna take the second to last layer, duplicate that by pressing Command D or Shift D, correct me if I'm wrong, Windows users, on our 27 to 29 and 26 of 29. And we're gonna drag those out so that it'll look like Max is going back the other way with the loop. Perfect, I think we got everything we need. We're gonna take this shape layer and use our Alt Option bracket to bring it into the one there. And I think we're done with the looping section here for a second, or the animation composition. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pre-comp everything. So pre-compose, and let's name it Wiggle Animation. And now we've got a pre-composed layer, which is just another composition. So if we click in, we have everything accessible if we wanted to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click on this layer, go to time, enable time remapping, and Right now, if we zoom out a little bit, we got all 15 seconds, but the end of our clip is at 1 frame or 1 second, which we knew. So let's go a keyframe in front of that and click our little keyframe button right there. Or let's go 1 frame in front of it and click the keyframe button. That's what I meant to say. And then let's go back and delete this. So we want to get rid of that black frame so that now our last image is the last image you'll see, so that when we do use our expression to loop it, it will loop properly. So let's go and press down our Alt Option key on Mac and press this stopwatch, the time vary stopwatch, and it will create an expression category here. And we'll go over to our expression language menu, click property, and loop out. So what this has done is it will loop whatever's in between these keyframes for as long as this layer exists. So if the layer only exists to 9 seconds, it will stop, and the layer will stop after that as well. So we want the full 15. And so there you got it. You've got your loop out, which will loop from these 2 keyframes, and it will loop back and forth, because we've created the infrastructure within the composition to go back and forth. So that's how you create a wigglegram. And just to kind of see the final product there. Yep, I think everything looks great. So that's only 4 images. You could use as many images as you want. Usually the shorter the better, because it's just supposed to be more or less a small effect in an image that, or in a series of images that's creating this interesting 3D dynamic video that someone can look at and say, hey, that's a little different than just a static photo. So thanks for joining us today for the Creative Dev course number 1, and we'll see you next time.